Hi everyone, Allison Ramirez here, Christian author, editor, and content creator. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 things I learned from publishing my debut book, Breathe Deeply, The Joyful Mysteries of the Rosary as Invitations to Peace. I have found these sorts of videos from other author tubers on YouTube really helpful because especially when you're just starting off on your writing journey and you publish your first book, probably 99% of the time you're going to look back and you're going to think to yourself, wow, there's definitely things I wish I had done differently. I should say though that I am 100% really proud of this book, even though I know that I could have done some things better and there's probably other approaches that would have given me more success in the book overall. I'm still really happy about it, and I published this book 3 months ago at the time I filmed this video, and after 3 months I've sold 45 copies, and that's including paperback and Kindle versions. So 45 copies might not seem like a lot, but for me it actually makes me pretty happy because probably only like 15 of those 45 sales were from family and friends, so I definitely had strangers buy the book and people that I didn't know, and I still have plans to do a lot more promotions and a lot more marketing for the book in months to come. So I'm hoping by the end of this year, 2022, if I can sell 100 copies of my book, that would be amazing. So I'm almost to 50, so I'm almost halfway there, so that's my goal for the end of 2022 for this book. But anyway, moving along to the 5 things that I learned. So number 1, one thing that surprised me about self-publishing is how much I had to spend to format the book. So as you may or may not know, you have to write the book and, have a story that makes sense from start to finish, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. But when you write a book, you have to know how to format it well. So that's like deciding what size you want the book to be. Like my book is, I want to say 5.5 by 8.5 in terms of the dimensions. Sometimes you can make books a lot smaller than that. Like I've seen 4 by 6, I've seen like 9 by 6. So you have to figure out what size you want your book to print in, and that's going to determine like your margins, your line spacing, your indenting, that sort of thing. And so you have to figure that out. And then you also have to have if you're doing an ebook version, you have to have like certain formatting for like hyperlinks, and that's going to be a different document than your paperback book is going to be in. So that's just a super quick overview of like formatting in ebooks, but I actually spent $150 to have someone else format my book and work on the ebook version. $150 actually was quite a lot of money, like more than I was anticipating having to pay. Of course it was nice because she did a great job and I had an ebook version in addition to my paperback and I had the formatting and margins all looking good. But at the same time, looking back, I kind of wish that I had just learned how to do that myself because I would have been able to save that $150. And after 3 months, I've only actually made like $15 in sales from my ebooks. So I spent $150, but I've only made like $15 back. So not super good margins there. And I will say that fee was different than my editing fee. So I also spent like another $150 to have the book edited, which I would say is totally worth it. You definitely don't want to do editing yourself. You want to always have a professional look over your book. So spending $150 to have it edited is something that I think was totally worth it. But what I don't really think was so worth it was $150 to have it formatted as an ebook, because I think I could have learned that myself. And I'm still looking into it, but you can format an ebook on Microsoft Word. You can also go on different sites like Draft to Digital or Kobe Author. Some of those are paid, some of those are free, but they provide you templates, and you can totally just format your ebook and format your book in general all by yourself if you learn. And then you will save $150 or however much it will cost you to have someone else do it. So that's just a long-winded first thing I learned about publishing my book and what I would have done differently. Secondly, one thing I learned about publishing my first book is how important it is to have reviews. So I published only on Amazon, KDP platform. There are other distributors and publishers for your book if you're self-publishing, but I only did Amazon this first time around, and to date I only have 2 reviews on Amazon for my book. So 2 is not that many. Thankfully, they're both really great 5-star reviews, but I think having like 20 reviews, 50, as many as I can get, would just help to give credibility to the book. It would help someone who's trying to make the decision of this is the right book for them easier, because they could read the reviews, see what people liked about the book, see what it's all about. And I didn't really spend any time on this up front. I could have sent what's called ARC copies out. Those are advanced reader copies. So I could have sent like the paperback or a virtual version of the book to like other writers or people I admire, teachers, even family or friends, and ask them to read it and give an honest review that they would post on Amazon. So that when my book was, first published, I could have already been starting to have more reviews on there if I had reached out personally to ask different people, which I didn't do. And I've had a hard time just posting on social media about it. I've asked for reviews. I haven't really gotten a whole lot of response for people leaving reviews, but reviews are just super important for new writers because you really don't have that credibility yet. And so a big way to show that is through good reviews of your book on Amazon or whatever site your book has been published on. And so I would just highly recommend spending a lot of time investing more in getting good reviews for your book. So that's what I would have done differently and what I'll probably do for my future books. Third, I would say order your proof copies early and order enough to let other family and friends read the proof copies and help you with the proofreading side of it. So a little bit of context: when you publish your book on Amazon, before you actually even hit publish and have it available for someone to buy, you can order proof copies. So I have some proof copies here. You can see the difference. It has like this gray bar across the front, as opposed to my published version doesn't have that, but otherwise it's exactly the same. And it just lets you receive the book in the mail ahead of time so that you can read it as your readers would the real book and just see if there's any like final typos or spelling errors or any formatting mistakes that you need to fix in those final drafts. I will say though, I did not know that in order to receive one of these proof copies, it took like 2 to 3 weeks for it to get shipped to me. And I did not realize that because like on Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime, sometimes you can get, your package within like a day or two. I didn't realize it was going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get these proof copies. And so I did several rounds. So like it took, 2 to 3 weeks to get the first round and then a week to edit and then like another 2 to 3 weeks. So this was like a 2 to 3 month process of me just doing like final read-throughs of the book right before I published it. And I got super tired of the proofs as well. Like, when you read your story over and over and over again, and you're just looking for those like fine tooth, like small errors, it can get really easy to miss just because you've looked over it so many times already and you've been working on the book for probably months or even years up to that point. So if I had planned better, I would have started ordering those proof copies a lot sooner from when I wanted to publish the book so that I would give myself that buffer time to wait for those copies to come. Not to mention I would have probably ordered like, instead of ordering just one, I would have maybe ordered like 5 copies because they're super cheap when you order them as the proof copy because they're not the published version. So like for example, my book is selling for $12.99 for the actual book, but proof copies only like costed me like $5 a book or like $4 a book, so it's a lot cheaper. And so I could have ordered like 5 or 6 copies and had my mom or my friends or other people read them. And so instead of just all the pressure falling on me to like find all those little errors, I could have had other like people giving their input and helping me out. So that's something I would have done differently. Another note I wanted to say about that third thing I learned about the proof copies, because I didn't realize how long the process was going to take, and I also didn't realize that when you actually hit publish for your book, it doesn't immediately like go on the published site on Amazon. It can take up to like 24 or 48 hours for your book to truly go live. And so I really wanted to have the book published on October 7th, which is on the feast of Our Lady of the Rosary in the Catholic tradition. But because I didn't realize kind of like the delay, my book actually was published the next day on the 8th. And so that was really a bummer for me because I couldn't change that date at that point. But anyway, if I had known that and done more pre-planning, I would have like actually mapped out my release date and all the marketing and things I wanted to do more better than I actually did. And then my fourth like lesson, I guess you could say, I learned was having to do with the cover. And a lot of people who publish their first book will tell you that the cover didn't end up being as good as they would have wanted it to be. I personally think my cover actually didn't turn out that bad, all things considered. I think the blue color is really vibrant and it goes with the theme of the Rosary and Mary, because her color is blue. I think the lily image was really clear and really pretty. I think the font maybe could have been a little bit different. And I think that there were times when you kind of like see some like little lines that weren't totally like fleshed out in the cover. But the back was pretty cute. I went through a couple revisions of the back with my cover designer, but I actually just like found someone on Fiverr and I only paid them like maybe $60. I don't know. I think if I had gone with maybe a more professional, I probably would have had to spend a little bit more money, but it might have been a little bit better of a cover. Again, this isn't really a huge deal. I think the cover ended up being okay. But I will mention that at the time, I didn't know that I was wanting to turn this into a series. So if you're not familiar, this is a book on the Rosary, and in the Catholic tradition, there are 4 sets of mysteries of the Rosary, and I just wrote a book on the first set, but there's 3 more sets of mysteries, so I would actually like to write a book on each of those sets for a total of 4 books. And if I had realized that, I could have had a cover designer that would have helped me with the branding to make sure that all 4 of the covers go together. I didn't really realize that at the time, but looking back, that might have been something smart to do. But my fifth thing I learned has to do not so much with the book, but about building community as an author, because I'm more of an introverted person and writing by nature is more of a solitary act, but producing a book from, you know, the first draft to the published book requires so many more people than just yourself. You need your editor, your cover designer, you need all your helpful readers. And I think that I didn't do a very good job building my author community. I still have a long way to go in that, but I would really like to have like a mentor or a fellow writer that can be a critique partner or have more beta readers as part of my process. And that can just help your book to just be more fleshed out, make sure that there's not any like plot holes in your book, or even things like nuances, like making sure that you have like the exact right word choices to go with what you're wanting to say. The more people that can involve themselves in your project, people that you really admire and respect and get their advice and their opinion throughout the process, can really just help your book to be the best it's going to be. And that's something that I'd like to really spend more time in on my future books, is to build that community and support from other writers and non-writers alike, helping to make your book the best it can be. So that was a really quick overview of the 5 top things I learned from publishing my debut book. If you'd like to purchase a copy, it is available on Amazon as a paperback and Kindle. Again, the book is called Breathe Deeply, The Joyful Mysteries of the Rosary as Invitations to Peace, and it is a devotional book, and it's interactive because there's spaces to write like different notes in the book, or just like your little reflections that you might have as you're going along. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I'd love for you to check out my book and leave it a review if you enjoyed the book. So if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I just hope that you have a great day ahead, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, take care.